guys, Panorama here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking to you all about wiring up the Switch Pro's SP-9100 to my 2016 Tacoma. A big reason I'm making this video is because when it came time for me to wire up the SP-9100 to my Tacoma, I was very confused. I did a lot of research online for decent videos and articles or really anything that was instructional with a step-by-step to help me along the way. It just wasn't much out there. Every video that I did come across, which were really decent videos, but they got up to the wiring portion and then they jumped ahead past the wiring portion and they skipped all of that. And that was really mainly the one thing that I wanted to see was how to wire everything. When you receive your Switch Pro and you open it, the wiring harness for the SP-9100, it's definitely daunting to look at. There's a cluster of wires, it's just a lot of stuff going on. And if you're not very familiar with wiring yourself, it can be really daunting to look at. They give a great instructional manual with it, but if you don't understand the terminology, it's definitely confusing. So I really wanted to make this video and be as detailed as possible and show you the entire wiring process from point A to point B, at least the way that I did it. Now this isn't the only way to do it, but it is one way to do it. It is a longer video, so I won't waste any more y'all's time. We'll jump right into the install and I'll show you exactly how I installed the SP-9100. Drilling and mounting is done. All that's left now is the wiring for the Switch Pro. And removing all the excess wires inside, cleaning up the engine bay. So I drilled these two holes out for the switches to run the wires underneath, come out through here, and then mount them all on the terminal right here, you know, S1, S2, S3, and so on. And this will be for the actual switch panel inside for the Switch Pro. Plug goes through here, down into this hole that I drilled, and then underneath into the firewall towards the back, and then into the actual cabin of the car. This one back here, I drilled out for all of the accessories for all of the switches on this side. And then the bus bar over here, I drilled out this hole for all of the negative wires for the accessories, and then I'll run the ground from here, probably through the same hole, or maybe just right up in the front to the ground that's existing already right here. So here's the wiring harness that Switch Pro provides for you. That's the plug, and it's just a cluster of wires that seems kind of daunting when you look at it, but Switch Pro gives you a manual that's actually color coordinated and tells you exactly what each wire does, which is extremely helpful. So the first four And this is basically how the switch panel is lined up. So the Switch Pro has 8 switches, would be 4 on top, 4 on bottom, and it tells you which ones they go to. So this brown one is switch 1, and the first 4 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and those are actually 20 amp max switches. So you don't want to overload those with anything heavy like a compressor or maybe like a larger light bar or something like that. So this would be good for the accessories like fog lights, ditch lights, chase lights, stuff like that. And they're just the single wires. So switch 1, which is the brown one, 20 amps, switch 2, or I'm sorry, switch 3, which is the I guess orange or light red, which is 20 amp. The red, there you go, orange. The red is 20 amp, and then the yellow, switch 4, is a 20 amp. The pink one is a trigger wire. The black one is your ground, which you're going to connect directly to your negative battery terminal. This blue one, or light blue, is the ignition. So every time you turn on the car, the Switch Pro will power up. And then the white one is for the lights on the Switch Pro to light up whenever, or illuminate whenever you turn on the vehicle. It suggests right here to connect to a parking light or side marker signal, which the Tacoma has. So we'll see if we can tap into that. And then the larger ones are a 35 amp max. Slide it over. So switches 5 through 8 will be for the larger loads, like, you know, a compressor or a larger light bar or something like that. But Switch Pro recommends when you're doing these to connect both wires together to whatever accessory you're connecting it to, so that it can power at 35 amps. So in order to give you all a visual aid of what it's talking about, here's the actual switch panel, right? So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and these 4 would be your 20 amp max loads. So the smaller accessories, you know, like fog, ditch, chase, you know, whatever. And then these would be 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so these are going to be your larger amp loads, 35 amp max. And these will be your larger accessories like a compressor or a larger light bar or something like that. So these will be just the single wires. You can see, like, switch 1 will be just the brown, switch 2 will be just the red, so on. And then these will be, switch 5 will be both greens, switch 6 will be both purples, or I'm sorry, both dark blues, and so on.
So what makes the Switch Pro so cool is that it has fuses and all that stuff built into it, so you don't need all this excess wiring from, you know, like the Bajas, which I'm currently wiring right now. But all this excess wire for the switch, for the Baja light, go ahead and disregard all of that, all the way down to the fuse block itself, right here. Strip the wiring, and all you're gonna take out of it is the positive and negative for each connection, and the rest you can dispose of, because this is what's gonna get wired to the actual Switch Pro. So this is the final product of wiring up my SP-9100. I don't mind the engine bay right now. It's a little dirty. I just got back from the beach. But this was the original Rago mount that I had and the ARB that was mounted to it. The Switch Pro is right here, bolted straight down, and then all the wires for the Switch Pro on this side, and all the accessories on this side. Negative on this side. The negative running off of that terminal is here, or the bus block, I mean, I'm sorry. And then all the wires tucked up underneath the actual mount itself. So it's a much cleaner install. There's not as much of a cluster of wires hanging. All of the accessory wires are in these two wiring lumens right here. So it's much better than just a bunch of relays mounted all over the engine bay, and then the wires just kind of nesting all down here. So everything that's down here is all the original OEM wires, and then everything that I added is cleaned up and tucked away. So this is what it looks like from inside the SDHQ mount with the SP-9100 bolted to it. Much cleaner install than what I used to have. I'm really liking it, really low profile. The wires to illuminate it and everything are actually in the fuse box underneath. See that? The backlighting on the Switch Pro is really cool because you can actually program it to whatever color you want. Mine is programmed to match the OEM factory lights, so it looks straight from factory.